And we are live. What's good, Josh? Your man, Bill saying, welcome. Really want to know podcast. How y'all feeling out there? Whew, bro, yeah, let's get into it, man. I think I'm gonna talk about this today, and then for the rest of the week, man, we're gonna just get back to what we normally talk about. Not what we normally talk about. We're gonna get into some red pill stuff because I know a lot of the young guys out there, bro. They just want to talk about red pill. It's like, hey, man, y'all got to pay attention to this kind of stuff, but they don't want to. They want to talk about the red pill stuff. They look at this, but it's not really where they are. And I get it. But this has to be talked about, man, because there's a whole lot more out there going on. And it's not all about relationships and dating dynamics and looks maxing and alpha male, whatever, which, but we'll get into that. And quick announcements, man. We got the Gumroad set up. We have Gumroad up and running. So I'm going to drop that in the link while I'm thinking about it. So you guys can check it out, man. Speaking of the red pill stuff, like check out the Gumroad account. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Gumroad. It's new to me, but when you go there, you go there and then you got to scroll all the way to the bottom to see the products, but the products are there. Let me drop this in the chat, guys. But we have 16 ebooks. It was like the first section was dedicated to the red pill guys, man. I got you covered. 16 ebooks, man. Everything from the Disney fairy tale to the family law trap. Some really good stuff there. And I'm also working on a series for stand-up comedy. For anyone who wants to get into stand-up comedy, we're working on a series for that. We have 2 books done. I'm working on a third now. And we're also going to have like videos and, we're going to start putting together packages. So that'll be like the best way to support the channel, man. If you want to support the channel, man, just go over to Gumroad, check that stuff out. When you get over there, man, just kind of be a member over there on Gumroad on the DL Saint page. The link is right there in the description, bros, in the chat. Check it out. Really appreciate it, man. And if you do buy the books, man, let me know what you think. Let me know which book you checked out. Let me know what you think. Yeah, we're going to keep doing that. But today, man, we're talking about what's going on with the feds. Talking about ICE. And bro, we're at the crossroads, man. Like this could go either way at this point. I'm still calling for that 30-day stand down. This is pull all the ICE people out of the streets for 30 days, man, from coast to coast, across the country. There was a shooting involving a Border Patrol officer in Arizona today. But, that's their soil, bro. That's their domain. It's like not too far from the border. There are no real details as to what happened other than, a Border Patrol officer was involved in a shooting. I think the person that was shot is in critical but stable condition. I think that was the last thing I heard. Not a whole lot of information on that. But again, this was down in Arizona in the middle of nowhere in the desert, bro. That's their world. That's when I hear about Border Patrol, ICE or whatever, I'm thinking, all right, that's their world. But yeah, man, we're gonna talk about what's going on with ICE, and I'm telling you, bro, something as simple as taking off the mask will go so far today, bro. Let's get into it. Get some indeed. We got Brother Joe Cool in the building, man. What's happening, man? He's like, you're right, bro. He's like, WTF, man, for real. WTF is Border Patrol doing in Chicago? What are they doing in LA, man? Like, what are they doing in Minneapolis, bro? For real. That's a great point. What are they doing there? We're gonna get into that, man. I get the mission, but like I said, bro, it's just a lot going on, and this is all turned into a PR thing. It's definitely a PR nightmare for the Trump administration and for Trump himself. He's having to move people around. Demoted the guy who was in charge of Border Patrol. The little dude, I forget his name, Bonvino or something like that. He got demoted and sent back to where he came from. And Trump is sending in, trying to send in his competent people to handle this thing. Kristi Noem, like people are calling for her head. And then Kash Patel, probably the most useless person in the Trump administration, in my opinion, man. Kash Patel, bro, like what is going on with the FBI? Why is it the FBI isn't cooperating with local and state entities when investigating a potential crime? Like when you look at, 2 American citizens were shot by federal agents, you got to investigate that. And normally it falls to the feds to do it. The shooting I just told you about in Arizona, FBI is on the scene. working with local and state law enforcement to do an investigation to figure out what happened. That's the process. Why aren't we doing that now? I don't know. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, Gregory Bovino, like that guy, the little dude. It is what it is. But let's talk about what's going on out here. This is from Breaking Points. We got a few videos we want to just kind of jump in there and check out. This one's from Breaking Point. This was yesterday, and they're just kind of talking about the backlash from everything that's going on. And you guys know I'm a big supporter of Breaking Points, man. I like what they're doing over there. I hope you guys do too. Check them out. They try to keep it fair and balanced. You know, you have Saga pretty much from the right, got Crystal from the left, and then they have others there. I think they do a good job. I think Crystal really is like lately she's really been like hard to the left, and Saga's kind of holding ground center right. But you know, sometimes it switches. Sometimes Saga goes hard to the right, especially when you're talking about gambling and legalized marijuana. Boy, he goes hard to the right, and Crystal stays in the center. But bro, I'm just saying, like, man, this is bad. If something doesn't happen, man, if they don't calm this stuff down, bro, it's gonna escalate and it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly for law enforcement, in particular, ICE. So, but let's check out this video.
Of MAGA's support for some of these mass deportations from people in that world or adjacent to it, whether we got Tim Dillon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dave Smith, some others who go through some of these. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I have to check myself because I'm constantly seeing things from Marjorie Taylor Greene that I don't just like not disagree with. I'm like, that was extremely well said. Where is this coming from? She is.
Yeah, there's a meme. We're calling it "Strange New Respect" from Marjorie Greene.
Strange New Respect, banger after banger. And so here is now former Congresswoman, and she asks people to go through an exercise, a mental exercise, to try to figure out how they would feel if the pictures were reversed. She says, MAGA, consider it like this. We lost our minds when we watched Biden's FBI track down. Sorry, jumped around a little bit there. But basically she's saying.
But he's going on like they lost their mind. Like what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying is she's talking to the MAGA people and saying, imagine if the roles reversed. Imagine if this was the Biden or Obama administration going after the MAGA people and their federal agents were gunning down people in this manner. People would lose their mind. And you know, she's right. Which, you know, for a fact, bro, when you're agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's like, man, are we in the upside down? We got Dr. B in the building. What's good, fam? It's like, are we in the upside down? Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is making sense. Like, and again, she doesn't want necessarily to go against Trump. She doesn't want to do it. But she hasn't lost her values. She's still like, yo, this is what I stand for. What are we doing? I cannot believe that MAGA and the right are saying that they don't like the First and Second Amendment. They don't like that. They don't like the like free speech. Well, it's free speech with limits. What? You know, you have a right to bear arms under certain conditions. I cannot believe that's coming from the right. I just can't believe it, guys.
From Biden's DOJ. Biden's FBI agents then throw two women down onto the ground for no discernible reason whatsoever, just because they're filming and the agents can do it. The MAGA guy who's filming then gets in between the two women and the FBI agent. FBI agent then bear sprays all of them, throws them to the ground, and within a matter of seconds has shot the MAGA guy in the back repeatedly, then steps back and empties the clip into him. And then instead of
and that's an exaggeration, guys. Like Alec, was it Peretti? I mean, the reports are he was, you know, they fired 5 rounds, they being 8 ICE agents. It was 2 ICE agents. It was a Glock 19 and a Glock 43. I think are the 2 service weapons that were used. Total of 10 rounds. 7 of those rounds allegedly entered his back. So man is on the ground. He shoot him 7 times in his back, bro. Then another 3 rounds for what? You know what I mean? Just to be sure, or did they miss at that range?
Providing, and I'll add this, instead of providing medical care, they start go counting bullet holes that they put into the MAGA person. She's like, try to put yourself in that position. And then once you have an ethical foundation, then respond how you would politically. Where is MTG now? I see the Marjorie Trader Green. Like, has she hit him too many times to still be able to pack a punch, or is the fact that she's standing up on principle allowing her to maintain some of that credibility? Because it's
I don't know Marjorie's game. I really have no idea. She's rich. She's got a fiance. I think she's probably just going to live a good life in Georgia, and she'll keep posting through it. I'm not really sure if she has any bigger ambitions. It'd be interesting to see if she did. The important point beyond it is to give, look, this is kind of the point of this block. There needs to be a permission structure for people who are like, I'm not liberal, but I'm really, really upset, about this. That is the gateway, I think, for Marjorie Taylor Greene and for a few others, that we're about to cover. And I think that's actually the most important part of watching this, is to see the fissures start to break, and to also see some juxtapositioning and positioning for where things may end up. Our producer, Griffin, thinks that this is the most important one. So we're going to put this one up here on the screen, E3. And I've been thinking about it. I think he might be right. Let's put E3, Megyn Kelly's tweet, up here. She says, real Donald Trump should pull ICE out of Minnesota and announce that there will be no more immigration enforcement in Minnesota at all. All illegals in the U.S. are encouraged to move there. If any illegal is found outside of Minnesota gets deported, they can never apply for reentry. Moreover, every single asylum seeker should be told no application will be considered unless the person is living in Minneapolis, St. Paul. So basically doing the equivalent of Texas and all of them busing illegals to blue states. One of the most brilliant political moves that the Republicans pulled throughout the Biden years, because it created immigration chaos across the nation. And it made it a salient issue and kind of spread and showed and highlighted what was going on.
I mean, yeah, I hear what they're saying. It's terrible for the people who are caught up in it because they're pawns. And I'm talking about the legal people who have family members who are illegal or undocumented, but they the family members who are legal, who are moving all around. I get that. But, I've been in conversation with close friends all day about this sort of thing. And I don't have a problem with mass deportations. I don't have a problem with enforcing our immigration laws. Just the laws on the books are fine. We just don't enforce them. I do have a problem with these tactics that they're deciding to use. Again, they always bring up Barack Obama, the deporter in chief thing. Man, he did that. He deported all those folks, man. No one heard a thing about it. Only thing you heard about it is when some, reporters would jump on the story because they're like, I can't believe that this Democratic president is kicking all these people out. It's like, well, they're not supposed to be here. And they got caught. Them's the rules, right? This administration, Trump has vowed he's going to deport more, illegal immigrants than anyone ever. And he can't even get that right. And look at this. Look at all this craziness. And people are asking, well, what's the difference? Why is it so hard for this administration to get this mission accomplished? It's because they're trying to be flashy, because it's political. It's not about upholding the laws. It's about upholding some sort of political thing. That's what it's about. And that's why their mission isn't to uphold the laws and just get the people who are in the country illegally. Their mission is to make this spectacle and put down a heavy hand and cause all this chaos. In my opinion, that's what the mission is. And meanwhile, they're not deporting nearly as many people as they thought. Most of the people who are leaving now, they're not getting deported. They're self-deporting. They're leaving on their own. Still, it's like, okay, that's cool, right? But you can't get credit for that. That's insane, bro.
This is the solution that I see has the most likelihood of happening, because it's a sneaky way of saying, okay, we're done. We give up. Right. We clearly lost. Let's pivot to this type of situation. And I've seen it now echoed by Katie Pavlich, another conservative commentator. I really think that these are sneaky ways for them to try to declare victory. And this is a very Trumpian way to try and do it, while trying to accomplish your point of, drawing attention to sanctuary city, while at the same time tacitly having to admit this shit is not working and it's a disaster.
Right. This is the "you can't fire me because I quit" move. And it's perfect. It's like, oh, you want to be a hellhole? Fine. We're too good. We're too good for you anyway. Like, we were just trying to help, but clearly you don't want our help. And so you don't deserve our help. And so, we have open borders within the United States.
So you can clearly see the left and right view on this. Is why like breaking points is always going to be one person from either side. And I'm not a fan of sanctuary cities, but like I was telling Glenn Lawrence when I was on his podcast, it's like, look, bro, I'm not a fan of sanctuary cities, but I don't believe that there's a city or a state in the union that would deny a proper warrant for someone. Like if you got a warrant for someone, you got the warrant, let's go. That's not what's going on. Like ICE just wants the local and state officials to do what, hey man, just go do it. Violate the Fourth Amendment. These people are illegal, they don't have any rights. Just go snatch them. You can't do that. Right? You still got to follow rules. And, but I don't like the sanctuary city thing. And if there are cities and states out there, because someone's going to jump in the chat and say, no, this is what California does that. Bro, if you have a state that's doing that, don't send them any state funding. Don't send them any federal funding. Take away all of the toys you gave their cops. Take away the urban tanks. Take away the M4s. Take away, all the gear. Take all that back. Don't give them nothing. Let them deal with it on their own. If you're going to sit there and not support the federal government trying to, execute a legal warrant signed by judges, not the stuff that ICE is doing now. They're kind of fudging the line there. Talking about like the real. If you're not going to help us, then we're going to cut off the money. That's cool. Just sit back. We're not going to give any money for your law enforcement efforts out there. Good luck. But again, I don't think that's the case, man. I could be wrong. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. Oopsie, forgot to turn it back.
To be pro-Trump and or right-wing in 2024, right? The dominant culture was pro-Biden or pro-Kamala. It was genuinely transgressive, especially on the internet, to be like, no, I hate the left for X, Y, and Z reason. Now, I think it's genuinely transgressive in a moment of, federal governments trampling on Second Amendment rights and ICE and all of this other stuff to actually just be a left-wing lib. And so to watch, to see Tim, what I see, I'm not saying he's calculating or anything like that. What I see is very clearly with these statements, which again is somebody who is fundamentally, suspicious of like establishment and or bigger powers, is looking and locking in on the Trump administration and kind of using that for purposes, not just for comedy, but also for political rhetoric. Here's what he had to say.
Everything is a scripted reality show. I criticize ICE. People get mad at me. They're like, well, how do you think people should be deported? Da, 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 da. Number one, you could pass legislation, which they haven't done. All of the stuff they've done on immigration is through executive orders, a lot of it. It will be reversed immediately by a Democratic president. That's number one. Number two, if you pass legislation and then attach enforcement to that, you pass laws, you then have laws by which the country is governed that will prevent illegal immigration. If you do a reality show spectacle where you're grabbing people here and there, left and right, and it revs everybody up, and you then have protests everywhere, and you have violence, and you have ICE responding to that with deadly force, you don't have a long-term solution. What you do is you're stirring the pot and creating like mini civil wars all over the country that people are watching on television, but you don't have like the enforcement of laws, and you're not going after employers that are employing illegal labor. You're not going after Steve Wynn. You're not going after the big hotel magnates that, employ illegal labor. You're not going after big agricultural firms that do the same thing. Now, agriculture.
And I hope y'all caught what he just said right there. This is all a big spectacle, bro. But America still needs the cheap labor. So if they wanted to stop immigration, you don't need ICE, agents, Border Patrol agents dressed up, like military guys out here harassing folks at the gas station, at the car wash, at the restaurant, at Home Depot. You don't need that. All you got to do is go after the people who employ them. And then guess what? They won't get employed anymore. And he's going to talk about that. Could you imagine that if the government did a sweep and came to your business, like your farm down here in Florida, and they just go, they don't even care about the people in the field. They just go and they go through your books and they find that you got these people on your books and they're in the country illegally, and they fine you $250,000 for each violation. What's that company going to do? They're going to clean up their act. Government like, all right, we'll give you, we're going to give you a warning. Here's your fines. You have fines equivalent to, $5 million. We're going to suspend that right now. And we're going to give you an opportunity to get right. Right. And then we're going to do another surprise inspection one of these days. And if you're not right, then we're going to tack on not only the fines from that day, but we're going to go ahead and then we're going to tack on the fines from this one. Simple as that. Guess what? Undocumented people won't get hired. And if they're not getting hired, they're not making any money. If they're not making any money, they're not going to be here. They're going to go home, wherever home is. That's what's going to happen. Right? That's point blank period. That's what's going to happen. If you go after the people, the big money people. So, Tim Dillon, man, shout out to him, bro. Like Tim Dillon, that dude be keeping it 100. That's what comics do, man. They force you to think. And when people hear me talk about this stuff, they're like, bro, whose side are you on? Like, bro, I'm on the side of common sense. Tim Dillon's like, you got to make some new laws. You ain't even got to do that. Just enforce the laws on the books. That's all you got to do. Enforce the laws on the books. That's all you got to do. The laws are already there. If you want to change those laws, then fine. That's when you go back and you make new laws and then you put them out. But until then, we're going to enforce the laws on the books.
Well, there's a lot of illegal labor used in agriculture. Well, then the food should be cheap, right? Well, no, the food's not cheap. It's the most expensive it's ever been.
I just paid over $13 for 1 pound of ground beef. Over $13 for a pound of ground beef, bro.
Well, what about the houses? They're the most expensive they've ever been. Huh. What about staying in hotels and eating out at restaurants? I mean, all of this has come down surely because of all the illegal labor. No, that's more expensive than it's ever been. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that explicitly proves the point. He's talking about housing, how it's most expensive. Everything is very expensive. It doesn't seem like things are getting better. He's talked about how Alex Jones warned for years in the past about mass agents in the streets. He's like, that's what's literally happening right now. I mean, you're watching all of this all take place. And then in that same context, I do want to give a shout out to my good friend, Dave Smith. Let's put E4 up here on the screen. Again, look, I think Dave was a very influential, prominent person in the podcast discourse in the lead up to the 2024 election, subsequently on foreign policy and more. And here's what he says. Quote, I'm an immigration restrictionist. I believe we have the right to remove any and all people who enter our country illegally. Also, ICE is out of fucking control. A bunch of pussies drunk on power going around intentionally escalating violent interactions, intimidating U.S. citizens. They create these tragic situations. And after this gigantic show of force, they won't deport a fraction of the illegals who entered under Biden. This is simply not worth it.
Bro, that's Dave Smith. So you look at the right, you look at the political right, you look at MAGA, it's splintered, bro. It's splintered. Why? Because there are a lot of people out there who believe in critical thought and common sense. Like, bro, this is not the way to do it. This is not the way. And what Dave Smith said there about ICE being drunk on power, he's absolutely right. Right? They're cowards. They cover their faces, just like they did the thumbnail to this thing, bro. In that thumbnail, bro, like, who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Right? Are those police officers or are those Russian troops? Who are those guys? Are those Sicarios or are those federal agents? We don't know. Why are you covering your face? Bad guys cover their face because they want to intimidate you, bro. So that's what ICE is doing. They want the intimidation factor. But the problem is when they come across somebody who ain't scared, they come across somebody who ready to bust back. Basically, they come across a real one. What do? They run. They run and hide. It's crazy, man.
And I do think that, this sentiment is very common amongst a lot of people. It includes me. I think this sentiment is very, very common. Again, for a lot of people who are deeply concerned, upset about the chaos at the border under Biden, and do fundamentally have a very different view of immigration than others. And while it may be true that some 250,000 people have been deported, let's say and look at it as a fraction of the tens of millions of people who enter the country illegally under Biden and or were present in the country. And then, though, you have to ask the question about not just the tactics, but now the 2 subsequent deaths in Minnesota and then this latest one, which is as egregious as it possibly gets, and to say, yeah, no, this is not the correct response. As Tim lays out very clearly, and he's correct, is that the biggest beneficiaries of illegal labor are big corporations, hotel chains, and all these other people. Fine, use the IRS. You can fine all of them 250,000. I can guarantee you, if you start fining and arresting people who employ illegal labor, you don't even need E-Verify. It will be over tomorrow. You could end remittances. You could end all remittances, put 100% tax on remittances, let's say sent by Wells Fargo. It would collapse the economy of Mexico overnight, as well as a lot of these other Latin American countries. And a lot of people would just leave. All of that makes it so that you don't need a single ICE agent in the street. If you did something like, nope, can't do that. Why? Because of big donors. So that is the egregious.
And that's facts too, bro. People who come here from other countries, man, they do send that money back home for various reasons. The big reason is, generally speaking, the dollar is stronger than their local economy, their local currency, wherever they're from. You're talking about like Mexicans, Guatemalans, El Salvadorians, and all that, Hondurans, whatever, Colombians, Venezuelans now. But another thing is they plan to go back home. They're just here to work and make money. They're providing for their families. They're taking care of business. I remember talking to a guy who he owned a valet business in LA in the San Fernando Valley. It was like right there on Ventura and like Van Nuys or something like that, bro. Like it was like right there in the heart of Sherman Oaks. This guy was from, I want to say Mexico. And he was like, yeah, man, I came up here and I started this business and I'm just working hard. And he sent like 90% of his money home. And I'm like, damn, bro. He's like, I don't need the money here. It's taking care of my family, like, my parents, me and my wife, my kids, right? He's like, bro, he had like 3 homes in Mexico. Like, he's like, I live in a great area. Like, you should come visit with me. Next time I go home, you should come with me. He's like, bro, I got 2 homes. I'm building a 3rd. He's like, we're doing really well because he's making good money. And this is back in, gosh, man, this must have been the mid 2000s, early 2010s. I think this was early 2010s. And he's like, yeah, man, that's what we do, man. We come over here, we work hard, we send the money home. Once we have enough, we leave. Like, we leave. And sell the business to one of my homeboys. They come up here and they do the same thing. Right? And I'm like, yo, if you take the money out of it, bro, he's not coming up here. Right? It like what Sager just said. It's like, bro, we're gonna put 100% tax on remittances. Wow, that's gonna break Wells Fargo and devastate the economies down there in South and Central America. Right? It's like, all right, we're gonna start arresting people. Like, this guy was in the country legally, but if he was in the country illegally, instead of arresting him, you arrest the owner of the restaurants and nightclubs that employed him. Right? They're not gonna hire someone that doesn't have proper documentation. And like you said, you can probably solve 85% of the problem without using a single federal agent. But like I said, this administration doesn't care about actually solving the problem. This administration is about making noise, chaos. Like Tim Dillon was saying, it's a reality show. And it's getting to a point where, Americans have already lost their lives, and it's getting to a point where it's going to get even worse. Like they were saying, and some ICE agent got his finger bitten off. I haven't read that story. Maybe it's true. I don't know. But none of that will happen if they really wanted to stop this thing. Like, you just go after the people who are hiring the cheap labor. Just go after them. And problem is solved. You know what I mean? So it's really crazy. We got Jay Swans in the building. What's happening, bro? And you're right about that. They definitely are loving this. They definitely are loving this. And they get to hide. Just like online, just like when I do this stuff, man. People in the comments, man, they want to be fly. They got plenty to say, man, but they won't show their face. And it just as cowardice as the ICE agents out there doing this stuff. You covering your face. Why? Right. Obama kicked all those people out of the country, man, legally removed all those people. The ICE agents that he used, they didn't cover their faces. They wore the gear, but they didn't cover their faces. Why? Because they knew what they were doing was solid. They were standing on solid legal ground. These dudes coming in here with 45 to 47 days of training, and you put them on the street. This is wrong. And like I said, bro, this reminds me of, You guys got to know a little bit about history. This reminds me of Germany between, 1932 to 1937, right? Right before Hitler, did his thing in 38 and 39, right? But before that, who was doing all of the heavy lifting? Who's breaking all the knees, man, was the SAs, was brown shirts. And when I look at ICE, I'm like, man, he remind me of brown shirts, bro. You got a thug force out here who's just out here doing whatever they want to do. That's what it reminds me of. Am I saying that, Donald Trump is on the same level as old boy that was running the brown shirts back then? No. The little mustache dude? No. I'm not saying that. Right. But the tactics are similar. I am saying that.
This part of all of this. Not only could it have been avoided, I think it's politically set back the cause of immigration restriction for decades, most likely as a result of this bullshit. But most importantly, what you're all watching, these canaries, Tim, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dave, all of these others who speak out on this, what you should notice is not just that they're willing to speak out, but that those are popular positions. Those are people who are starting to, make ground, independent voters, others, people who potentially may have voted for Trump. That is fundamentally the demographic, Ryan, that really helped Donald Trump dominate the culture and win the White House in 2024.
Yeah,
and he's right about that, bro. The Republicans, man, MAGA, they're all splintered, man. They're all splintered. We got brother Michael Lee in the building, man. What's happening? Good to see you, man. My not so little one is doing great, man. Like, she's 17 years old. She's a little lady, man. It's crazy. She's doing her own thing. She's making plans. She's making bad plans. I always encourage her to plan stuff. She's making bad plans, and I love it. I'm just encouraging her to plan out stuff, and let's. This is how it's done. This is how you're a grown up. This is how you save your time and save your energy, and keep from getting into bad situations. Don't be afraid to make a plan. Don't be afraid to make a backup plan. And like, her school had an event yesterday, which called for parents to pick them up downtown Tampa at a stadium where there's a hockey game, like the Bolts, the Tampa Bay Lightning was playing. And I'm like, the plane is the school's gonna take y'all down there, but parents gotta come pick y'all up. It's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, this is a horrible plan. You're gonna see why. And when we got down there, she's like, oh, I see what you're talking about, Papa. Thousands of people converging on this spot, and they didn't even pick a spot for us to pick the kids up. It was crazy. It was crazy. Got to the point, I'm there waiting to pick her up. I managed to get through all the traffic. It took me an hour. I get there, talking to the law enforcement. They're letting me sit in a spot where I'm not really supposed to sit, just waiting on my daughter, who was literally just like right there a few feet away. And I can hear the grown up in the background saying, no, we can't leave yet. And I'm like, yo, give the phone to whoever that lady is. She like, my dad wants to talk to you. Gave the phone to that lady. Like, look, my child is leaving right now. I know you got a problem, and I feel sorry for you, but my daughter is leaving. Thank you. Take care. My daughter got the phone back, and she's like, I'm coming right now. And she was in the car in less than 2 minutes. And then we drove out of there. But I told my daughter, like, you think this was a good plan or a bad plan? She's like, oh, this was a bad plan. They did a bad job. I'm like, that's right. They absolutely did. They absolutely did. My daughter, bro, has beautiful, natural, curly hair. I don't have to worry about weaves. I got to worry about hair color. Like, she's crazy about these hair colors. And, it's give and take, bro. Sometimes you just got to give and take. I set goals. I'm like, hey, if you want to dye your hair, like, not her whole head, but like just parts of her hair, like the ends, she wants to dye them different colors. Like, if you want to do that, then I need you to do all A's and B's in school. And that's what she did. She's like, I got all A's and B's. I'm like, okay, you held up your end of the deal. Go ahead. I don't like it, but she likes it. It is what it is. It's what she's doing. But as far as weaves and all that, and my daughter's not into makeup and all that, I'm lucky. I could definitely talk to her about makeup. We talk about how to dress, what's appropriate. These girls today like to wear like these little shorts and, outfits, man, they look like, little 304s in training. And we talk about that. My daughter wears baggy clothes, hoodies. So we don't have to worry about that, but we continue to talk about it because, she's going to be grown here in a minute and she'll be on her own. So she's going to be able to buy what she wants, dress how she wants to dress, go where she wants to go. So I'm always talking to her about it. So yeah, man, but it's tough. That's what dads are for. Like, dads are there to kind of help their daughters navigate, like the attention world and the sexual stuff and all that. And moms are there to help the guys, the boys, not fall for the 304 traps and all that. So that's why it's best to have, men and women work better together than apart, especially when you have kids. It's best to have children and have, mom and dad right there to raise the kids. the best situation ever. That's one of the main red pill talking points that no one ever brings up. Like, it's the best thing ever. Unfortunately, that's not what we're doing these days. But let's get back to the political stuff, man. I wanted to bring up, we're going to drop that one down. That was Breaking Points, guys. Definitely go, like I said, if you haven't subscribed over there, check them out. That's a great source for news. And again, they do their best to stay, fair and balanced, but you can tell they're leans. They're going to be leans to the left, leans to the right. It is what it is. But they do a good job of just getting you the information, and that's independent news there. So they're not tied to any, corporation trying to tell them what to say and what to do. So I really like them. Shout out to them. We're about to watch Secular Talk. And they're talking about support for ICE has completely collapsed around the country to the point where family members are like really upset with their, dads or brothers or whoever, cousins, sisters who are ICE agents, and families are coming out against these people, which is crazy, but makes sense to me. Makes sense to me, man. So we're going to check this out. This is Secular Talk. This is Crystal Ball's husband from Breaking Points. And, so if you know Crystal, if you watch Breaking Points, you'll see that this is the same background, the same backdrop, because they're it's husband and wife. This guy is definitely, he's left. He's, hardcore left. I don't watch a whole lot of his stuff, but I did want to check this out, man. So let's check this out.
All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Welcome. So later on, TikTok is barbecue chicken, y'all. It is Fucksville. It is over with that app. It's a wrap. I mean, they are. You want to talk about nuking the platform in like a matter of seconds? That's exactly what just happened. Now you have the Zionist MAGA billionaire, the Ellisons, they run it, and all of a sudden can't criticize ICE, can't criticize Trump, can't criticize Israel. You have longtime creators with massive followings just getting nuked overnight where like nobody's seeing their videos. The algorithm is refusing to spread it around at all.
So he ain't lying, bro. It's a big time revolt over there with TikTok, which is going to work great for YouTube because they're all going to come over and do YouTube shorts. But man, listen, I'm definitely going to do a video on it. It was a major TikToker who was talking about this just a few days ago. So probably tomorrow I'm going to be talking about it. You guys got to see it. It's crazy. This MAGA millionaire dude that he's talking about, whoever bought TikTok, is worse than the Chinese Communist Party. It's like, bring back the CCP. Like, what's going on here? This is insane. The CCP didn't care what you said as long as you're talking about Americans. If you start talking about China or the Chinese Communist Party in a negative way, then they will restrict your content. But this stuff was going on with MAGA, insane.
Just a horrible, horrible thing happening over there. So we'll talk about that. We also have polling now. Support for ICE has completely collapsed. We have Fox News hosts praising Trump's concentration camps. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. We have Moist Critical, a.k.a. Penguins, a.k.a. Charlie. He is completely and utterly fed up with MAGA idiocy. I love that video. And then later on, Ted Cruz is caught on a leaked secret video trashing Trump and Vance. I'll give you the backstory there. And we also have a MAGA civil war, which yet again is boiling over. J.D. Vance and Laura Loomer have exploded at each other, and it's a preview of what's to come as long as when Trump is no longer with us, when he's no longer the head honcho. It's a wrap because J.D. Vance can't hold together this coalition, and you already have significant chunks of the right that want nothing to fucking do with the guy. And oh yeah, another regime change war is going to happen, this time with Cuba. So
this is the beginning of his show. We're only going to watch him for the first segment. Maybe we'll circle the wagons at some point and revisit to talk about Cuba. Do I believe that America is going to do, some interventionist stuff down in Cuba and try to overthrow Raul and all them? Yeah. Is Raul still a leader down there in Cuba? There's been so long since I've even looked at what's going on in Cuba. But do I think that America is going to get involved? Yes. Yes, that's 100% Marco Rubio. Venezuela's, they did that. Yeah, Cuba's on the list for sure. And then when it comes to like who's going to be the next, top of the ticket for the Republicans, probably Marco Rubio. J.D. Vance is people really do dislike and hate JD Vance. And then MAGA and all the racist stuff that's coming from MAGA when they talk about his wife and all that, like JD Vance is just looking bad right now. So, but it doesn't really matter who's the top of the ticket. Watch what happens in November this year. Watch what happens in November 2028. MAGA, the Republicans are in trouble. Now we got a lot of, it's a lot of time between now and 2028, but yeah, MAGA's in trouble, bro.
Not looking good, y'all. Not looking good. But you guys know the drill. Everybody do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time we drop a video. That's a great way to protect from the algorithm eventually nuking us. To be fair, it was TikTok that was nuked overnight. But who knows? This could easily happen on YouTube as well. So click that bell icon and you don't rely on the algorithm to serve you the videos from this channel. You can also support the show on Patreon. Remember, this is a real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser or done an ad read or taken money from a billionaire or a PAC or a government or anything like that. Very proud of what we built here, and you guys made that possible. $2 a month at a time, $5 a month at a time. So that link is below if you'd like to sign up there. You can also tip with that thanks button on YouTube, or you can...
Oh, and by the way, Brother Michael, man, my Gumroad is up and running, man. If you want to go check out some of the Red Pill stuff, man, jump over to my Gumroad account. Anybody wants to support, please just pick up an ebook. There's nothing there over $10, right? All of the Red Pill stuff is like $4, $5, $6. The entertainment stuff is $9, but I appreciate it.
It feels very unserious to talk about poll numbers when it comes to an issue like fascism. Like, honestly, would I care if ICE was polling at like 73% support? Would that change my opinion on this one iota? The answer is fucking no, because they literally are a Gestapo force of maniacs who are just on a crime spree across this country. So if the majority of people supported it, I would say the majority of people need their fucking heads checked, because this is completely and utterly unacceptable.
Yeah, I wouldn't even compare them to the Gestapo, man. Because the Gestapo were smart, educated, tip of the spear type dudes, bro. These cats are SAs. They're just thugs, man. They're like the brown shirts. Like I said, just pick up a book, man. You don't even got to read about it. Man, watch a video on YouTube. Understand your history, bro. Like, I would say these guys are more like the brown shirts.
So I don't really care that much about the polls, but having said that, the polls are not pro-ICE, and in fact, support for ICE and the DHS more broadly has absolutely collapsed. So let's start with this. So here we have CNN's data guy, Harry Enton. He says the following.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised that President Trump is sending Tom Homan in, because ICE, DHS, Kristi Noem have been a political disaster. Because just take a look here. I mean, ICE's net approval rating during Trump's term, you go back to term number one, look, it's pretty even at 0 points. You go to June 2025, right? That was when all that stuff was going on in Los Angeles. They dropped down. Look at this, minus 17 points, way in the basement. But then after Minneapolis, it's even lower, minus 27 points on the net approval rating of ICE.
This dude is way too sassy and animated for me, bro. Way too sassy and animated. But you can see the numbers, negative 25. I mean, negative 27. That's crazy.
Term under ICE, under the Trump administration, under Kristi Noem, has very much not been popular, and it's only been getting more and more unpopular.
What about DHS kind of more broadly?
Yeah, okay, so, we're going to start down low. We'll start with ICE, and then we'll raise it to DHS. And again, it's just the same exact story, right? DHS is doing an excellent or good job, the Department of Homeland Security. During Trump's first term, look where it was in late 2017, right about this point, 59%. That's pretty gosh darn good. But look at where it is now in Trump term number 2. By late last year, it was down to 42%. So this is the same story that we're seeing no matter which poll question we look at. The popularity of ICE, of DHS, has completely fallen under the second Trump term, the second Trump administration, where what we were seeing during Trump's term number 1 was, hey, ICE, DHS, pretty popular, certainly not unpopular, but all the actions in Minneapolis, in Los Angeles, in these major American cities have been very much rejected by.
By the way, when we get to talking about some more red pill stuff, man, this is the way society wants men in America to act like this guy right here, bro. Don't do that, guys. Just don't do that.
Minnesota, which leads to questions of what about the leadership of the Secretary of Homeland Security, who has inserted herself very publicly to be kind of front and center in all of these operations.
Yeah, as I said at the top, I just think there's a real reason for it. And that's because Kristi Noem, simply put, Kate, has not been popular. And everything she's done for the most part has not been popular. I mean, just look at her net approval rating. In July of 2025.
I mean, again, but let's be serious. You're replacing 100% Hitler in Greg Bovino with 99% Hitler in Tom Homan. Like, this is a guy who literally was caught taking, what was it, $50,000 in a brown paper bag as a fucking bribe.
Yeah, that's a fact. But here's the thing. Tom Homan was the guy working with the Obama administration that hit those really high numbers with deportations back there. He knows how to do it. Obama himself, if I'm not mistaken, gave him some sort of award for his work with that, right? This guy knows how to do it. Tom Homan is the guy that's been going against Kristi Noem, allegedly, right? And that Gregory Bovino guy. Tom Homan was like, nah, this is not the way to do it. It was Homan that should have been the guy all along. They should have let him put forth the plan and listen to him. And now Trump is throwing him in here trying to fix this issue. Like I said, Kyle, man, like, he's way entrenched on the left. You know what I mean? With the Hitler references, bro, I think he's just taking a little bit too far with that. I don't agree with that, but I get where he's coming from.
Like, who are we kidding? He'll fix it. He'll fix what? What are you talking about? He'll fix it. He'll make the Nazis seem slightly more palatable. Is that the idea? Like, this is like, I don't know. Even having this conversation feels like moving the deck chairs around on the Titanic.
It was minus 11 points. It's actually gotten more unpopular now.
We got Brother Mandrill in the building, man. What's happening, fam? Good to see you, man. So, I mean, we can see here that the numbers are going down. You know, people are just not happy with what's going on. I think Tom Homan is going to do a better job, but we just have to wait and see how far they'll let him go. And again, I'm just a 30-day stand down, bro. A 30-day ICE stand down. I think that's what we need right now. A 30-day ICE stand down.
Not law enforcement. They're crime enforcement. They are on a crime spree across this country on a daily basis, and we all see it with our own two eyes. So this does not bode well for them, but we also have this. Ready? The percentage of Americans who say ICE has gone, quote, too far has gone from 53% in October to 56% in November, and now it's 61%. Two new polls show 7 in 10 independents, 70% of independents say they've gone too far.
Wow.
But of course, it's only 2 in 10 Republicans because, they're literal demons. So that's why it's so low for Republicans. But 61% say they've gone too far. All right, more. Civics tracking poll among Hispanic Americans on abolishing ICE. Support 20%. That was in August of 2024. So in other words, Hispanics in 2024 generally thought, look, ICE is law enforcement and they're just like upholding the immigration laws and it is what it is. We support them, right? January 2026, now a plurality of Hispanic Americans support abolishing ICE. It's 49% to 43%. Okay? More support abolishing it than keeping it, which means the mask has been ripped off and people realize this is not law enforcement. They are crime enforcement. They are going.
I mean, I would definitely call them thugs. I don't know about the crime enforcement thing. You kind of paint it however you want to paint it. Like, again, he's way over there on the left. I'm in the center. But when people ask me about the Latinos, like, oh, what do you think about the Latinos? I'm like, bro, y'all put Trump in office, man. What did you think he was gonna do? Like, what? What did you think he was going to do? Dude is doing exactly what he said he was going to do, and y'all voted for him. Y'all voted for him. And then they snatched up, mama and papa and abuelo and all of them got snatched up. They done kicked the doors off, blown the doors off the hinges. There's some cases where ICE has gone into people's houses, man, and literally blown the doors off. They're using Delta Force SEAL team tactics. Like, these dudes are not qualified to do that. Why are we running around with strips of C4? We got explosives that we're placing on doors, blowing doors off. Why are we doing that?
Going around the country, assaulting innocent people, murdering innocent people, smearing the people that they kill, right? Illegally using tear gas, illegally using pepper balls. They shot a priest in the face with pepper balls. They assaulted.
They shot him in the head with it. He got hit in the head, and you can see it. It wasn't his face, but still illegal. That goes against ICE policy.
An 84-year-old married couple. They've routinely tear gassed babies. You have courts saying to them, hey, you're not allowed to use those things anymore. And then they proceed to do it anyway. They're covering their face because they know they're committing crimes. They know they're doing crime sprees. They say, oh, it's about protecting us from doxing. What does that mean? There is no doxing in the same way you can't dox a police officer, right? If you want to be real law enforcement, if you want to be treated like real law enforcement, you need to abide by real law enforcement rules. Cops have their fucking name and their number and a badge and shit. You know who they are at all times. They're there to protect and serve you. Okay, so if you want to be law enforcement, of course you need to show your face. You can't be anonymous. You can't do whatever the fuck you want with impunity. This is insane. So you can see here, these numbers absolutely flipped. 49% support, 43% opposed. That's Hispanic Americans. Again, it was 20%. Now it's 49%. Just insane. Do you support abolishing ICE? This is independent voters. Double digits. They say yes. Yes, 48%. No, 36%. That's plus 12 points from independent voters in favor of abolishing ICE. Guys, this is not close anymore. This is not close anymore. And then I'll add this one on for good measure. 71% of Americans believe the United States is out of control under President Trump, according to a YouGov survey. So I only gave you a little sampling of the polls here. There's way more polls than this. The fact of the matter is, people are onto it. What I think they've recognized now, specifically because these people murdered Renee Nicole Good, murdered Alex Preddy, what people are realizing is, well, hold on. If this was real law enforcement, first of all, you would know the names of the shooters immediately. They would be arrested. There'd be an investigation. This would be taken seriously, right? And in many instances, when there's like a police murder, yeah, many times they end up getting off because there's a, almost like a higher burden of proof when dealing with law enforcement. People give law enforcement a bunch of leeway. But having said that, there have been officers who have been found guilty and have spent a lot of time in prison, right? So when people are,
and those guys get removed from the force. So even if they don't go down for the killing and they beat the state case, they'll get put off the force, and then they'll get hit with a federal violation of civil rights case. And then, they'll kind of go down that way. And then the civil suits will come and they'll, that happens. So, that qualified immunity thing, judges are waiving qualified immunity for these horrible shootings. But again, Cal is really far left. I'm going to let him go just a little bit more and then we're going to move on.
Realizing now is, hold on, you killed 2 people now. There are more ICE murders than there are undocumented immigrant murders in Minnesota, for example. And now you're literally hiding them, protecting their identities, shifting them to different states, letting them continue to be a menace to society, letting them continue to assault people. There's another video of a woman who got her hand blown off by a less than lethal round the other day. Some of her fingers, I think, got blown off. Okay. This is who these people are. And what people are beginning to realize, very simply, is this is completely and utterly unsustainable. And this is not law enforcement. This is fucking crime enforcement. And that's,
yeah, I'm going to leave it there with him. And what's going to happen next is Americans are going to take action into their own hands. Regular law enforcement, like the real law enforcement guys, understand this. This is why you have law enforcement officials stepping forward and saying, hey, man, we got to stop this. We got to stop this now. That's why I keep calling for a 30-day stand down. Right? The thing is, Americans are going to do something about it. And when it goes down, it's always the people who are the quote unquote good agents that get caught up first. Why? Because the bad agents know it's coming. Like the dirty cops, the bad agents, they know it's coming. So they're looking for it. The good agents are out there just doing their job. They're not going to necessarily see it coming. Right. And this is a 30-day stand down, man, because once the weather breaks, you know what I mean? Especially up in Minneapolis. Like once the weather breaks, man, there's real people going to come outside. And I don't want to see that. I do not want to see ICE agents getting lit up. I don't want to see it. I do not want to see it. But that's the next step. That's what's going to happen. But he goes on, like the video is linked in the description below. You got to go all the way down to the bottom of the description. You'll see that. You'll see this. You'll see breaking points, links down there. He goes on to talk about how a lot of family members are like, ashamed of their, family members who are ICE agents and stuff like that. And you got to look at that training, man. 47 days. 47 days. What are you teaching inside of 47 days? I mean, do they even know how to clear a room? They're going to knock a door down, just run into the room. They don't know what they're doing. 45 days, 47 days. Come on, man. That's criminal. That's criminal. And then you have to look at the administration. Who approved this? Well, it came from the Trump administration. Well, okay, they got to have a hand. They got a hand in this. You're putting people who are not qualified on the streets, and then you look at the carnage that ensues, and then you're going to sit there and be like, well, it's not our fault. And whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? And if, again, you keep them out there, like I said, today in Arizona, Border Patrol shot somebody. Now, was it a good shoot? I don't know, but they have the FBI down there and local and state officials down there investigating. We'll find out exactly what happened. We'll find out. But that's, again, that's Border Patrol's turf, bro. That's their soil. That's where I expect to hear that kind of stuff. I don't expect to hear it in Chicago, Minneapolis. You know what I mean? I don't expect to hear it in LA. I don't expect to hear that stuff, man, popping off in Boston or wherever. They want to go to New York. Shout out to Mom Donnie. He's like, we're going to keep them out of New York. And so far, it looks like they have. So, bro, this is bad. Definitely going to keep my eye on this. And like people keep saying it's going to lead to a civil war. It's not. It's revolution, bro. It's revolt. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing the American people revolt against the government, against a rogue faction of the government. That's what you're seeing. This is what the founding fathers thought about. This is why we have a Second Amendment, right? So you got weapons. You can defend yourself against a rogue or out of control government. That's why. And I don't want to see this play out, bro. This ain't just this ain't a game to me. This ain't a TV show to me, bro. I understand there's real people out here. I don't want to see American versus American. I don't want to see it. And what's the best way to diffuse this thing right now? 30-day stand down, bro. Period. 30-day stand down, man. We got brother Dino Dinosaur in the building. What's good, fam? It's insane what they're doing right now. And then for the people out there who want to back, law enforcement, you want to back ICE, okay, go right ahead, man. Go right ahead. The shorts that I'm putting out, man, there's a lot of people commenting on them shorts. There's people in there, and you can see the racist people, right? You can see the cowards. You can see who they are. And it's just hilarious. And then you see the people who just want to have a real conversation like, well, why this and why that? And I appreciate that. I thank everybody for their comments, except for the knuckleheads. I don't say anything about the knuckleheads. And there's a people who like comments get removed. That's not me. That's YouTube. Just so y'all know, that's not me. That's YouTube removing your comments. Right. So, I sit back and I look at it, and you got Americans who are willing to give up their freedom in exchange for security. Right. You want to give up your freedom for security so you can feel safe. And, people who do that in America, that, they deserve neither. Right. That's what the founding fathers said. And that's where I stand on this. Right. First Amendment, Second Amendment, exercise your rights, do what you got to do what you feel is right. You know what I mean? And understand what's going on. Be careful out there if you're dealing with ICE, because they don't know what they're doing. You got guys out there who do not know what they're doing. So be careful dealing with them. And understand something. What ICE is doing, your local law enforcement isn't doing that. Now, I come from a place where we have bad cops, man. Cincinnati had a problem with cops. The FBI was in their department and investigating the Cincinnati Police Department for decades. They might still be investigating. There's some really bad cops in Cincinnati, right? If you're not dealing with that, if you're dealing with law enforcement who is out there serving and protecting, support those guys. But if they're bad, you got to deal with them. You got to deal with them. So I'm going to leave it there. I promised myself I would just do an hour on this, and that's where we are. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. I don't want to see this thing go to the next level. The next level is going to be ugly. The next level is going to be very, very ugly. And I think that we can avoid that. We can avoid that. Trump is definitely doing this taco thing right now. He's definitely checking it out. He's definitely trying to do what he can to de-escalate this thing. But I don't think he's doing enough right now. I'm telling you, a 30-day stand down. And people are saying that he might just pull ICE out of Minnesota completely. There's talk about that, but only there. I think they should do it nationwide, because it doesn't matter. You pull them out of there, but you don't pull them out of LA. You don't pull them out of Chicago. Like, you try to insert them in New York. You don't pull them out of Philly. Like, it doesn't matter. People are watching and they ready. They're like, all right, when they try to do something to me, we're going to do this. So it's not like they get to start from zero in these other cities. Nah, bro, everything is already at 10, right? The next level is going to be off the scale. And I just hope we don't get there, because that's going to be ugly. And I tell my friends from all over the world all the time, I'm like, bro, don't nobody kill like Americans. It is a pastime over here. Bro, don't give Americans a reason. That's my thing, man. Don't give people a reason. And let's cut this nonsense out, bro. Let's properly train these ICE agents and give them real training. I really want to know the washout rates. Are they washing out any of these candidates, or does everyone make it through? Right? That's what I want to know. What kind of psych exams are they giving these people? Right? How many of these dudes have a tendency to jump to violence? Right? Because you see what they're doing. They're initiating a lot of this stuff, man. So that's it. That's all I got to say about that. Next time y'all see me on this platform on a live, we're going to be talking about some red pill stuff, man. Going to be talking about some red pill stuff. Because we done did all these ebooks, bro. We got to go ahead and start moving these ebooks. And I'm going to be doing on-demand videos for Gumroad, man. We're gonna put a lot of products up over there, bro. I'm working on a traditional hardcover book, 2 of them, as a matter of fact. One, of course, for the red pill guys. It's not gonna be a very long book. It's gonna be kind of like Rich Cooper's book here. It's gonna be like Unplug Alpha, something like that. Something small, but I'm working on a proper book. Not as big as 1929, but close. My political views, there's political views coming from someone like me who grew up the way I grew up, who went from being in the hood to where I'm sitting now and what I've seen and just kind of looking at America and American politics and just kind of give you my take on it. Not going to tell you the name of the title of it because it's a really cool title, guys. But it's going to cover a whole lot of stuff. It's going to make a lot of sense. And it's coming from a dude who like, bro, I'm not supposed to be here. Like everything was set against me, yet I made it somehow. And, I just want to tell that story. That book, I'm hoping to have that book out at least by this time next year, if not a little sooner. If I'm lucky, we get it out by Q4 of this year. It's like just in time for Christmas. Hopefully, we'll see. But it's a lot of work, man. I had no idea how tough writing is, bro. Shout out to the real authors out there. I'm just starting. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just a newbie. I'm just trying this stuff, man. But man, this is hard. Even with AI assistance, man, it's really difficult to get your story just right. But it's never been easier. You know what I mean? Look at Brother Michael, like talk about no more weave, hair, hat, helmet, hooligans. Hey, bro, they're gonna do what they do, man. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that. Tomorrow we're gonna talk some red pill stuff, man. We're gonna be talking relationships, we're gonna be talking about weaves and 304 outfits and BBLs and all that stuff, man. The makeup, especially all that stuff, man. Because like I said, it's changing. It's changing, man. These dudes are hearing this red pill message. These dudes are modifying the way that they do things. There's always going to be simpletons out there, man, but their numbers are diminishing. These guys out here like, you got dudes who are just out here working, focused on themselves, getting to the finish line. You got a lot of guys going MGTOW. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, guys. So be looking for the thumbnail. I got to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I got to talk about the political stuff, man, because it's important to all of us, man. This affects us all, especially if Americans, if we see some sort of armed revolt against ICE, that is going to be a problem. So I hope we don't get to that point. So anyway, man, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate y'all, man. Always being here for me, like the day ones and all that, man. Let's continue to grow this thing. Check out the YouTube shorts, man. They get so much traction. YouTube purposely doesn't push the long form content. My YouTube shorts, those numbers are the numbers that we would have gotten on the long form content 6 years ago, 7 years ago. But now they just push the YouTube shorts. So it is what it is. You got to feed the beast what it wants. So we're going to continue to give them shorts. But we're not going to stop doing our long form content, guys. And I've been working with Miss AKA Lady. We might have something you guys want to see. We're working on something right now, man. Just a little teaser. And I hope we can make it happen. But yeah, she's been reading the ebooks, man, and she's really enjoyed what she's read so far. So I look forward to hearing what you guys think. Let me know if you cop some of the ebooks, let me know. And like I said, I appreciate it. For all my day ones, reach out to me on Instagram. And if there's a book you really want to see, bro, and you just ain't got the bread right now, it's fine. I'll shoot it to you. My day ones. And who are the day ones? The day ones are the people with a wrench behind their name in the chat. So my day ones, bro, like Brother Dino Dinosaur, Brother Mike, you know what I mean? Jay Swans, of course, Mandriel, of course. Anybody with a wrench behind their name, Dr. B, like anybody, even old Joe, he ain't got a wrench behind his name, but that's one of the day ones, man. You know what I'm saying? If you want one of those books, man, you just ain't got the bread right now, man. I understand because the economy is jacked up. Just hit me up. I'll shoot it to you. So just hit me up on Instagram. Here's the banner. Hit me up on Instagram. I really want to know podcast, all one word on Instagram. Just hit me up, shoot me a DM. Hey, DL, man, I just ain't really got the bread right now, but I really want to read the book on, the Disney fairy tale, or I really want to read your ebook on the Family Law Trap, or I really want to read the ebook on Passport Bros. Yeah, I got an ebook on the Passport Bros. So whatever it is, just hit me up on Instagram, bro. Shoot me your email, and I will shoot you that ebook. All right, because I appreciate y'all, man. So that's it. That's all I got to say for today, man. I'm out of here. Y'all know what it is. I'm DL saying this is that I Really Want to Know podcast. I look forward to seeing your comments in the comment section below. Please support Breaking Points and Secular Talk and all the other platforms that we highlight over here. I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace.
Darn, that's the end.
Thanks for watching. We really appreciate your support. And if you like that video, check out this one, or maybe that one. We'll see you around. Peace.